maybe it's just me, but whenever I see black people in a movie trailer, I think, oh God, not again. It seems like you can't have a black movie nowadays without having a female protagonist who was abused, raped, molested by her father, who lives this completely miserable life, has this horrible existence, and the whole movie is just kind of emo and depressing. And I mean, you can never have a black woman in a black movie nowadays who's cool, who's somebody you would even look up to, somebody you would even admire, somebody that you find interesting, but not in a really depressing, my life is miserable kind of way. It's as though it's impossible for them to show a black woman in an industrial espionage movie or a black woman in an adventure movie. You know, she's always got to be some loser with like a million problems, and her life is just awful. That's the way Hollywood sort of portrays black people in black movies, and there's always some black guy who's like a villain or whatever. Anyway, speaking of movies, one of my favorite movie cliches is the cop whose partner was murdered, but now he's going after revenge, and he's going on a rampage. What are some of your favorite movie cliches, and what are some of your least favorite stereotypes? Why is it that people insist on hiring 30-year-old men to play teenagers in TV shows and movies? All these 30-year-olds trying to pretend like they're 15, 16 years old. You know, maybe for the first 2 seasons it'll work, but then eventually you have some 33-year-old guy walking down a high school hallway with all these kids. It's just kind of weird. Oh man, I came across this forum where this guy said his father abandoned him at 6 months, and he showed up when he was 16 and promised to call him, but he never called him, and now the father wants to show up, and he's 18 and his father wants to now play a role in his life. You want to know what I think about that? It's sort of like, you know, ladies, what if I said, let's bake a cake, right? And we went to the store, and I helped you pick out the ingredients, all my favorites, the strawberry icing, and all that good stuff, and you bought the ingredients. We go back to your house, and I'm like, oh, you know what? You get started, I'll be right back. I gotta do something, right? So you put all the eggs and all the ingredients together, and you put the cake in the oven, and you bake the cake, and you put the icing on there, and when everything's done, I show up at the last possible second, take a knife, and cut into it, and grab myself a piece of cake and say, man, we sure do know how to make a good cake. Well, that's what his father was doing, essentially. And I was raised by a single mom. I don't know the real story behind why my father left. I mean, why we left my father. You know, I'm not going to try to speculate. You know, all I know is that I'm pretty sure he's alive, and he didn't want to play a part in my life. So I'm not one of those people who want to go looking for a father or mother who wasn't interested in them. I think it's kind of goofy. Well, I shouldn't say that. I understand why people will want to know where they came from, but I'm the type of person where, you know, if you don't want me, then I don't want you, and I'm not going to go looking for you for any type of emotional support or anything. So, I mean, that's how I view those little issues. I know today's a little random, but I would love to get your take on these issues. And speaking of stereotypes, how come you never see white people in trailer parks in the movies who are not white trash? Just like whenever they show white people in a trailer park in a movie, they always got to be white trash, always. I always thought that was kind of interesting. You know, it's sort of like the redhead vixen, which I think is actually sort of a cool stereotype. And almost bust my ass there. And you know, Irish, the fighting Irish. You know, oh, the alcoholic cop. You know, like how many alcoholic cops could there possibly be? You know, the fighting Irish. You know, that's actually a good stereotype that I would like to see more of in reality, particularly in Ireland, as they fight the criminal banks. All right, so your favorite cliches, and what do you think about looking for a long lost parent, or I don't know if the word lost is appropriate, but you know what I'm saying. All right, have a good day, And remember, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today.